Hi, Katie.
Hi.
Hey, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the Montana Futures Forum, where we explore the cutting edge of emerging technology through the lens of Montana's people, places, and possibilities. Innovation in rural spaces, like the Treasure State, has long been a challenge. But today, we stand or sit or sleep we're at the turning point across the curriculum, the arts and humanities, medicine, healthcare, STEM, and outreach, new technologies, especially extended reality and artificial intelligence and photovoltaics, are breaking boundaries, transforming how we work, learn, and connect. Faculty and staff at the University of Montana are doing cutting edge work applying these emerging technologies in innovative and meaningful ways. And people across this big state, in remote, in city areas, and wilderness, and everywhere in between, they're also embracing these technologies in ways that reflect our culture and our demographics. So, this forum, this Montana Futures Forum, is more than just a conversation, it's a discovery session, a deep dive into the lives of Montana experts as they engage with emerging technology. We ground our work in ethical, meaningful relationships and embrace the messy and experimental and the iterative innovation process of co design. So let's build together with humility, with boldness, and with understanding that innovation in Montana is not only possible, it's essential. Welcome to the conversation. So we're connecting future forward innovations with the needs and opportunities of our state. So in this episode, our first Montana Futures Forum, we're going to step into the world of virtual reality, technology transforming how we teach, train, and connect. Here in Montana, VR is more than just an immersive tool. It's a bridge to deeper understanding, from exploring the inner workings of cells to training healthcare professionals in outpatient clinics serving Indigenous communities. With our first special guest, Dr. Katie Holick from the University of Montana's School of Pharmacy, we'll discover how VR fosters empathy, enhances medical training, and shapes the future of healthcare in our state. Welcome, Dr. Katie Holick.
Thank you, Jonathan. It's a pleasure to be here having this conversation with you today.
We are so happy that you're here with us today too. So, yeah, I thought I'd give a quick introduction if you don't mind. So, Katie's a descendant of the Blackfeet tribe in Turtle Mountain, Chippewa, and a native Montanan. Katie is deeply committed to improving education and healthcare outcomes for Indigenous communities and beyond in Montana. The objective of her research is to investigate the integration of virtual reality technology into the healthcare classroom and assess its effects on student learning outcomes, engagement, and overall educational experience. Through Dr. Holick's research, she aims to contribute to the growing body of research regarding the integration of virtual reality in healthcare education and its use to educate providers in the diverse and rich culture of Indigenous peoples. Through Katie's work, I think you're going to be able to clearly identify the impact of these technologies, and it's the way that she applies it for creating these student learning outcomes, engaging empathy, understanding, and the improvement of Indigenous healthcare practices. Welcome, Katie.
Thank you. It's Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Um, I did bring a few slides to share today, so hopefully that's okay if I go ahead and share them on my screen now. Um, yeah, so thank you so much for the lovely introduction. I apologize for the very abrupt audio there.
All good.
Part of what I wanted to show here, though, was our wonderful university that actually has a meta universe companion. So I'm sorry for one moment. I'm just, you have to love technology when it works. And um, so here you can see a little bit of virtual reality being experienced at the University of Montana. And so many of these images were taken in the virtual reality space that we've created, and it's been used and shown by many students. This that we see down here is actually just the meta campus that was created via Victory XR.
Mhm.
So, so virtual reality in the classroom takes place in several different areas across our curriculum for both undergraduate and graduate students. I've been lucky enough to work with undergraduates in my neuroscience classes, as well as graduate students in the pharmacy school, to really just highlight the uses of virtual reality across different topic areas. I talk a lot about it in terms of pharmacology or within neuroscience, kind of how a neuron fires, and I'll show some different examples today.
Great. This is awesome.
Yeah. So in terms of our space here at the university, when I was a Montana University System Scholar, I was given the opportunity or provided the opportunity to create a virtual reality space here. And this is just a quick video showing what that space looks like. We can see scanning of the room up to 18 different virtual reality headsets. We also have some high-speed graphics computers that are available there. And this dedicated space is able to really facilitate teaching and learning within the virtual reality space.
That's fantastic. So how many students do you generally have in your classes, Katie?
So for our pharmacy school classes, usually we're sitting between 30 to 40 students. And so often we'll have students pair up together. I
Mhm.
think so often when you're using technology, I think there is always some concern about it being a isolated experience. So I've always ensured that whatever is happening within the headset is cast to a iPad or tablet. So whoever is working alongside those students can see what they're experiencing. In that way, it's able to increase accessibility. And so if you have students who maybe aren't super excited about putting the virtual reality headsets on, they're still able to see the materials. They're still able to experience what's going on in the headset,
Mhm.
just not in an immersive way. But also from even just like an instructor's position, you can kind of keep an eye on what your students are doing and maybe assessing their progression with what you're proposing for them to do.
Excellent. So you have them, you're not having them, go in and do virtual reality for a whole class. It doesn't look like. What exactly are you having them do?
Yeah, so it really just depends on what you're hoping to achieve in the class. Virtual reality, as with new technology, can sometimes be new and exciting, but you really do want to ensure that it's aligning with your learning outcomes that you're trying to achieve within the class. And so with that in mind, I've been very selective as to like which type of software I'm using to support the learning outcomes. And so some of those examples I've highlighted here, and one of them is a cell activity where you are going with it into a cell and you actually are fighting off these foreign invaders, which is
Mm.
wonderful. So often students have a hard time understanding the different organelles within the cell, the actions that those organelles take, and how everything's interrelated. So it gives you a situated understanding of the relationship of how these, individual units really work. In this instance, as you can kind of see shown here in the video, it does give you a sense of agency. During this cell experience, you're actually attacked by these foreign infectious invaders, and you have to actually work within the cell to fight off that invader. So I've watched students put this headset on and come out sweating, being like, I beat the infectious invader. So
Yeah.
so the gamification of it is also kind of is an additional kind of incentive for the students, not only to understand what's happening in the cell, but also kind of carry out that activity themselves to fight off this foreign invader. So that's one experience that I've used in my introductory biology classes. Um, Another piece of software that I've utilized is this one that's called ShareCare Health. And what you're seeing here is a picture of the human heart. What's wonderful about this is that you can actually rotate it entirely and then cut away cross sections to the heart itself. And what's awesome about this is you can kind of magic school bus yourself inside the aorta of the heart itself. And again, this is a perspective that students don't often appreciate of what's going on inside the heart and how that relates to the health of the heart and the pathophysiology. So again, one of the advantages to utilizing virtual reality is you're able to manipulate both time and scale, which isn't always, again, something that we have the capacity to do in a basic lecture class. And the students are able to kind of see what happens to the heart over the timeline of disease progression too. So for a healthcare student, it's quite helpful for that.
Wow. So they can go forwards and backwards in time and see how, age and cholesterol impact you as your diet. But they can also like really get in close at the cellular level and then pan back and look at it from the larger perspective or scale. That's really, really cool. That must be really useful for teaching your concepts.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, being able to take kind of a very basic concept like the cell and then expand it out to like the heart, it's just like you're able to kind of get these different levels of organization that we see within the human body represented here. So when students are sitting in a class and they're learning about a particular protein, they're like, why is this important? You can actually show them this
Mhm.
is why it's important across this across these levels of organization. Yep.
Context matters.
Context does matter, absolutely, right?
Yeah.
And then just to kind of take it to another level of complexity, the last thing I'm going to show you here is what's really been a huge inspiration for my research, which is this experience called traveling while Black.
Mhm.
And this particular experience actually follows along um, with an individual who is African American, traveling along the Eastern Seaboard during the Civil Rights era. And so what this does is it gives you again a kind of a first person perspective as to like what that experience was like, what people had to consider during that time. And so it's hard not to walk away from that experience feeling a high degree of empathy for what that personal experience was like if you were living it at that time. Again,
Wow.
virtual reality is unique in technology in the fact that we're actually able to see the world through someone else's eyes.
Yeah, that's Roger Ross Williams' work from 2019. That is an amazing piece. I really recommend that people check that out. And in fact, we'll drop the link in the Futures Forum team site for people to look at that. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, but as I said before, software curation takes a little bit of time. You want to make sure it, aligns with your learning outcomes. And so just being really creative in that sense, whether it's finding things that are listed on like the Oculus or Meta website, I found
mhm.
SideQuest to be a wonderful resource for that. And then if you're coming at it from an academic perspective, maybe identifying individual researchers that are doing software development that you could possibly collaborate with or pull from too.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, tell me more. What's going on? This is great.
Yeah, so I just kind of highlighted how I use VR in the classroom, but it doesn't stop there, right?
Uh-huh.
I showed you some examples of how we use it at UM.
Mhm.
I also often use it frequently for outreach. Montana is a very rural state. It's wonderful to be able to take this technology out into these rural cities and give students an opportunity to experience something that they might not normally be have access to. And so it's wonderful for outreach. It's wonderful to get students kind of excited about science and what's going on in the world of science. And again, just giving them that first person experience of what it's like to even do science. So
Right.
yeah, I've used it a lot for outreach as well. And then lastly, as Jonathan alluded to, I'm using it to develop a software program myself, essentially asking the research question, what is it like to be an Indigenous person walking through the healthcare system? And
Mhm.
so we've started to work with individuals within those communities to identify what that experience is like. And ultimately we'll be developing that software that's targeted towards healthcare providers and increasing their empathy for what that lived experience is like.
Wow. Wow, that is so cool. So you're going out and putting the VR headset on kids and they're able to like not just hear a story about what it would be like to have a job, but actually like get into sort of a simulation of that job and get a really good feeling for, wow, this might be something that I want to do, and engaging in science in an active fun way. And then you're training these clinical practitioners um, on empathy for what it's like to you know to feel more, get more understanding for what it's like as an indigenous person coming into these healthcare settings. Is that right?
Absolutely, yes. We're hoping in the end that we see elevated empathy by our healthcare providers, more cultural humility of our healthcare providers, and then
Mhm.
at the end of the day, increased levels of empathy by healthcare providers have shown to increase the patient outcomes long term. And so, at the end of the day, hopefully, we're also helping our patients as well be better treated and have better health overall too.
Well, that is really really promising, really really fascinating research. I can't wait to see the outcomes on that and fully support and applaud that application, Dr. Holick. That's really fantastic. Um,
Yeah. And I think we're starting to really make a turning point here at the university. We, this semester, have started an XR community of practice, which has been lovely to just work with like-minded people who are focused on using XR in a variety of different ways.
mhm.
Currently, we meet 2 p.m. on Mondays bi-weekly at the Office of Organizational Learning here at the UM campus. So if anyone from UM is watching this and is interested in joining, it is a very open group, and we've had a lot of fruitful discussions so far in terms of resource building. We are also hosting some special events, and Jonathan can speak a little bit more about that. But we are hosting Fun Men Fung, which Jonathan, if you would like to talk a little bit about this as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, this our XR at University of Montana Community of Practice, hosted by Natalie Burston and Katie Holick and myself. We get to support. It is such an awesome thing to get started, and we are meeting, like every couple of weeks in the Lamison Center there. We hope everybody will come, and we're doing meetups and other things too. So we're really really excited to be able to navigate through some of the challenges that we've been faced that everyone has been facing lately in higher education. But we're able to invite and welcome Dr. Funman Fung from the University College Dublin. He is a chemistry professor there, but he's a visiting Fulbright scholar at Stanford University this term, and he is flying to Montana for a couple of different events. One is this XR at UM Innovation Workshop, which is Wednesday, March 5th from 3 to 5 p.m. And we'll have an opportunity to jump into AI and do some collaboration, as well as followed up by some hands-on work. And then the next day at 2 p.m. Mountain or other places around the world, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. London, you can join us on Zoom or live in the University of Mansfield Library's Learning Commons for another edition of the Montana Futures Forum, where we will be able to have a conversation with Dr. Fung about his work on applied VR out in the workplace doing chemistry. So it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So hope you'll all be able to come.
Yeah. And I think keeping this in mind, I think it's important to recognize that, at the UM, we're trying to build our XR community. We're trying to really put ourselves on the map in terms of international XR work. And so we've begun to create this collaboration, and we would love to promote the Immersive Learning Research Network. As you can see here, the Springer proceedings have been published, and there's also a conference that happens annually, and this year it'll be at Chicago. I think this is going to be a collaboration that's going to be incredibly fruitful for the University of Montana, again, to be part of that larger conversation happening, and really hopefully, again, learning a lot from the Immersive Learning Research Network, as well as hopefully contributing to it as well.
Yeah, we're really excited about the opportunities for the University of Montana to partner with iLearn and other XR experts from around the world. Um, Please join us if you're curious or if you're active in XR. We'd be happy to collaborate with you and welcome you to our fun and engaging, very interesting and meaningful academic pursuits. So thank you for watching and collaborating. And Dr. Holick, thank you once again for joining us for our inaugural Montana Futures Forum. And
Absolutely.
it's been an absolute pleasure to work with you on the formatting of this and to work with you and Natalie in the XR at UM community of practice. And yeah, we're looking forward to a fantastic future together. So this is great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.